Dietrich Bonhoeffer and the Theory of Stupidity in the shadow of one of history's darkest chapters. A single voice dared to ask a question that echoes to this day. What is more dangerous than evil itself? This is the story of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German pastor, a resistor, and a thinker who uncovered a force he believed threatened humanity more than malice or tyranny. And in the crucible of Nazi Germany, he saw it bring a nation to its knees. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was born in 1906 into a world of intellect and privilege. A theologian and pastor, he was a man of deep faith and sharp mind. But by the 1930s, his homeland was changing. Adolf Hitler's rise to power unleashed a wave of fervor, and with it, a phenomenon Bonhoeffer could not ignore. As the swastika rose over Germany, he began to see not just evil at work, but something subtler, more insidious, a collective failure of reason. From the confines of a prison cell, where he was held for his role in resisting the regime, Bonhoeffer penned his thoughts in letters smuggled to the outside world. Among them was a warning about stupidity, he wrote. Against stupidity, we are defenseless. This was no mere lament. It was an observation forged in the fires of experience, a diagnosis of a moral plague he believed was more perilous than the cruelty of dictators. To Bonhoeffer, stupidity was not a lack of intellect. It was not ignorance in the traditional sense. It was a willful surrender of critical thought, a moral failing that rendered individuals and entire societies vulnerable. Evil can be exposed and fought, he argued, but stupidity cloaks itself in self-righteousness. Facts fall on deaf ears. Reason is met with defiance, or worse, aggression. Bonhoeffer watched as Germany, a nation renowned for its philosophers and scientists, succumbed not just to Hitler's malice, but to the complicity of its people. Doctors, lawyers, shopkeepers, men and women of capability became instruments of horror. Not because they were inherently wicked, but because they ceased to question. They embraced slogans over scrutiny, comfort over conscience. Bonhoeffer saw this as a sociological contagion, one that thrived in the presence of power. The power of the one needs the stupidity of the other, he wrote. It was a chilling insight. Tyranny relies not merely on fear, but on the willingness of the masses to abandon their independence. In the roar of the crowd, Bonhoeffer saw reason drown. Stupidity, he argued, was not in it, it was cultivated. Under certain circumstances, he observed, people are made stupid, or they allow this to happen to them. Bonhoeffer believed that solitude could be a shield and opportunity to reclaim one's mind. But in the collective frenzy of Nazi Germany, few sought such refuge. Instead, they marched together into catastrophe, their moral compasses dulled by the weight of conformity. What made this so terrifying was its ordinariness, the banality of a nation choosing ease over effort, certainty over doubt. Imprisoned in 1943 for his part in a plot to kill Hitler, Bonhoeffer grappled with how such a force could be overcome. His conclusion was stark. Stupidity could not be defeated by argument or education alone. It's only an act of liberation, he wrote, not instruction. Can break its hold. It required a rupture freedom from external oppression, followed by an internal awakening. For Bonhoeffer, a man of faith, this liberation began with humility before God. But his words carry a universal weight. Stupidity is a spell that demands more than reason to shatter. Bonhoeffer's Germany was a laboratory for his theory, but its lessons stretch far beyond those years. On April 9, 1945, just weeks before the war's end, he was executed at Flossenburg concentration camp. His final words, spoken with a quiet resolve, were, "This is the end for me, the beginning of life." His death marked the close of a life spent resisting, not just evil, but the apathy that fueled it. Today, in March 2025, Bonhoeffer's warning feels freshly urgent. The tools have changed. Propaganda now travels at the speed of a click, but the dynamic remains. Misinformation floods our screens, echo chambers amplify the loudest voices, and crowds form with alarming ease. Intelligent minds cling to falsehoods, not for lack of evidence, but for lack of will. Bonhoeffer might recognize this as stupidity reborn, a refusal to engage, a surrender to the tide. Consider the fault lines of our time debates over science, justice, governance. Facts are dismissed, dissenters vilified, all while the self-satisfied dig deeper into their trenches. Bonhoeffer's insight cuts through. One tyrant can wreak havoc, but a million compliant followers can unmake a world. Stupidity, he warned, is not the absence of thought, it is the rejection of it. Bonhoeffer offered no simple cure. His life, however, was a testament to resistance not just against power, but against the ease of going along. He calls us to a harder path, to question relentlessly, to stand apart when the crowd surges, to guard our minds as fiercely as our freedoms. In an age of noise, his voice from the past is a clarion call. Dietrich Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity is more than a historical footnote. It is a mirror held to humanity, a challenge to see ourselves as we are and as we could be. Evil may strike the first blow, but stupidity, he taught us, delivers the fatal one. The question remains, will we heed his warning, or will we too succumb? Thank you for joining us on this journey into the mind of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. If his words resonate with you, share your thoughts below. Subscribe for more explorations of history's lessons, and until next time, keep questioning.